Hello everyone and welcome to our presentation, Sidekick4All, connecting teams across Jira and Calendars. My name is Yasin, I'm the CEO of one team, and together in my team I have Jalal and Ayub, both senior Forge developers. Let's talk about challenges business teams are facing in 2025, and they are really a lot. But if you think of the day-to-day work that business teams have to do, it's more about jumping from one tool to another. It's more about really connecting data together instead of just focusing on their projects. And the business has number one priority, which is run the business efficiently. So that's why actually they have to install applications thinking that can improve the efficiency. But when you think about efficiency, it's about the time tracking, budget, capacity planning. That's very, very important to the business. And the challenges they face, it's about tools are not well integrated, data is scattered across different tools, increasing the security risk, as well as user acceptance. I mean, if you have to wake up in the morning and open 10 tools, that's really a lot. So focusing on the time tracking, and that's the field where we operate. If you think of the native capabilities that Jira offers, it's like the original estimate, story points, due dates, like all of these to help you really estimate the time, but it's really very, very difficult. When you go on the marketplace and search a little bit on the time tracking, you find a lot of solutions already. And we were like, let's imagine all of this. Let's build an operational intelligence framework with Forge to manage time, resources, budgets, as well as offer reporting and analytics. So by thinking how we can reimagine everything, we started really from the scratch. We had nothing, and we had that flexibility of thinking outside of the box. So we were like, to solve the problem of time tracking, we need to connect the calendar with the tasks or the work items in Jira, and that's how we started. So how the application looks like, let's deep dive on the demo and see how it looks like. So when you go to Jira, you can just by going to the marketplace, look for the Sidekick4All application, and this will show you our application, which you can very, very quickly install and configure. So once the application is installed, just go to Sidekick4All, and it will ask you to connect your work calendar. We support Google and Microsoft, of course, at the same time. Once the calendar is connected, we can close the tab on the left side, and we are in the full mode of Sidekick. Here, I can see my Google Meet. Let me take you to the calendar where it just reflects what I have in the Google Calendar, but we have it now within Jira. And let's say, for example, I have to work on integrating a Microsoft task. I can just drag that task and drop it, for example, on this time. This will create a Google blocker on my calendar, which if I open here, you see it just created automatically, linking me to the Jira ticket. So this is really how we connect both worlds together. Not only that, we just block the time for you, the focus time. You can dynamically change the time for it. And every time you change that, it will be reflected on your calendar. But more than that, when you open the ticket and go to work log, you will see the history. That means we track the time for you automatically. Another use case, I have a customer meeting happening here. What I can do, I can link it to a ticket, which means that the time for that meeting coming from Google will be tracked as well as work log item on the ticket itself. And another use case, if I want to work on a task with another colleague, like for example, create a documentation, I can just go to the search for the colleague, and then drag and drop the task, which will then create a meeting for both of us together, and of course, track the time on the ticket. Because we have access to your Jira, to your meetings, we can show you very, very informative analytics that will help you to reflect on the week. How much time did you spend? How much focus time? Or with whom did you really meet this week? And with whom you had the most collaboration using Jira and using your calendar. But of course, we do all of this just to show you the time that you worked on. That's why we have the time tracking capability, which just show you what you don't see on the Jira tickets. In our case here, it's showing me that I worked 8 hours on Monday, 1 hour on Tuesday, 4 hours on Wednesday, and so on and so forth. And of course, I can just go here and look for specific tickets, for example, a presentation, and I will just log the work, which is, for example, 3 hours, 20 minutes. And that will create the time for me in the system and use it for reporting. Regarding reporting for time tracking, this is really very, very good because with reports, you can see your efficiency score based on the hours that you've worked for which projects. And then by going to the list view, you can create more analytics by grouping your different time, whether by epic or by Jira project. And this will help you, of course, reflect on where did you spend the most of the time this week. Sidekick4All is available on the marketplace. Give it a try. It takes almost 2 minutes to configure everything and connect your calendar and enjoy a new way of tracking time across your Jira and your calendars. To sum it up, 3 points. We are building an operational intelligence framework to help people and companies and business teams manage their time in a very efficient way. It's 100% built with Forge, supporting data residency, encryption, and a lot of other great capabilities for security, and from proof of concept to going live within 3 weeks. Of course, we had a lot of improvements after that, but it was really, really a nice experience. Now, if we think what is next, we are going to focus on capacity management to help team estimate what could happen if things change internally, not only tracking the time in the history, but as well the future, as well as meeting schedule links, because we know when you are available, when is your focus time, you can create links that will magically help you schedule meetings with your colleagues, and of course, focus a lot on robo agents, which will help you with very, very clever time tracking actions. Thank you so much for listening to us today and looking forward to your feedback.